I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is the seed sower coach as well as the author of the book Thoughts for Kids and Other People's Kids, none other than Mr. Kirk McCarley.
Mr. Daniel Lucas, thank you for hosting me today.
You're most welcome, Mr. Kirk. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
I'm a Christ follower. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I am an executive and career coach. I am an employee of a little subsidiary of the Disney Corporation known as ESPN. I teach spinning classes. I cycle an awful lot. And now we can add author to that list of identifiers.
Yes, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. And more empowering coaching for sure. So tell us, what was a pivotal moment of or life event that moved this from general idea to a book you felt compelled to write for your children and the wider world?
Daniel, I'll tell you a little bit of the story. I became a coach late in life, and how I stumbled upon, or moved into, I should say, that occupation is this was about 12 years ago. I hired a coach myself. I had had a long career in human resources and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next as I entered the at least third quarter and now maybe fourth quarter of life. So I met with this coach. We considered several different things, but it was about the third meeting I had with that person. And I said, I want to become a coach like you. So embarked upon that journey, went back, got a little bit more education and schooling to prepare me to step into that profession. Now, with starting your own business, that's going to require developing a website, getting set up as a corporation, so becoming an LLC. And with the website comes marketing. One of my marketing tools was blog writing. So I wrote one blog, and then two, then five, then 10. And eventually these blogs began to take on a life of their own. Blogs that were mostly catered towards people that are trying to figure things out about life. How do I become successful in life overall, maybe specifically in a profession? I mentioned I work for a small subsidiary of Disney called ESPN. So there's some sports stories in there. I've been an athlete and followed athletics for a long, long time. And eventually worked my way into developing a online monthly column in our local newspaper. So this was about 2 or 3 years ago. A couple of things happened. One, these 5, 10, 15 blogs now, or by that time, numbered about 100. And they're sitting out on my website. What do I do with them? The second thing is the publisher of the paper in which I write said, Kirk, you ought to write a book. And I thought about it for a few seconds. Yeah, you're right. I ought to. So that idea was birthed then. And over time, I already had the articles, and they are edited now, edited well, and put into this book that we referred to either earlier, Thoughts from My Kids and Other People's Kids. And that's kind of how the concept came into being. A motivating factor is there's something like 80% of the population that has a desire to write a book or a thought about writing a book. Probably less than 3% actually take the time, make the investment to go and do that. Well, Daniel, I am glad to be your first podcast this evening, but I'm also glad to be in the top 3% of folks that
Yes.
have written a book. And those are my motivating factors. That's at a high level how this project came into being.
And well, congratulations, Mr. Kirk. Congratulations. The title mentions keys to success. How do you define success in this context? Is it more about character, happiness, and resilience than traditional metrics like grades, career, and wealth?
Grades, I did okay. Wealth, I've done okay. Uh, but success is addressed in the book, specific chapters and allusions to that. And oftentimes, you're right, Daniel, there are KPIs and metrics that we want to assign to that. And oftentimes, in Western society, that plays out into what's your wealth accumulation, what's your portfolio, what are your possessions, what kind of car do you drive. I did okay, but I wasn't in the top 1%, probably not even the top 10%. But I found in my experience that is not success anyway. Success is, first of all, is there joy? Does that joy um, go out to others? And they get the sense of what you were experiencing. Are you successful with your family? How do you know that? How do you measure that? Do you have a large network, relationships that you can count on people and they can count on you? Those are some of the elements that go into success. And the book is going to address that and some keys as to how do you get to that point. And I think fundamentally it boils down, and this resonates throughout the book. If you're a leader, it's a common term, servant leadership. And what is that? The person that you're serving is viewed from your perspective as greater than you. How can you make their life better? If they're successful as a result of that, you are successful. So that's the premise on the keys to success.
Indeed, very well said, Mr. Kirk. Why did you choose the structure of short, powerful vignette over the continuous narrative? What does this format allow you to do that a traditional self help or a parenting book does not?
Number one, I already had the material. It was a series of these blogs that I'd put together over time, Daniel, that I was motivated to do something with. So it was these blogs are written over the course of probably 6 years, and they're crafted, interestingly, often when I was participating in some form of exercise. I alluded to cycling earlier. That's when I do a lot of my best thinking and writing is when I'm engaged in some kind of physical activity or movement. So this took place over the course of time. I would have a piece to get out to the paper in which I've got an article. So there was a deadline there to come up with something that's 600 to 800 words each time. So the product was already there. It was just a matter of assembling that into some orderly format. And what I did is once I took a look at the blogs that I thought were going to be worthy of this publication, what category would they best fit into? Was it a category of communication? Was it a category of leadership? Faith, spirituality, this idea of success, experiential, because people appreciate listening to stories. We're trained to listen to stories when our parents read to us when we were infants. That continues, and those can be wonderful parables for people that are trying to relate where they are to maybe what you've gone through, what you've seen, what you've observed, and where they want to go to eventually. And I hope that readers have found that to be the case, those that have read the book and those that will read the book.
Well, Mr. Kirk, let's talk about on the specific keys and content. If you had to pinpoint one vignette that served as the absolute foundation for all the others, the most important key, which one would be and why?
I think this idea of servanthood, and that incorporates a lot of different things, but I'm going to take one component of that specifically, and I'll borrow from The Seven Habits of Highly Effective Leaders by Stephen Covey. One of the components that is really near and dear to me, and I work on it constantly, and as an executive coach and career coach, it is essential to have that characteristic, and that is seeking first to understand, then to be understood. So often we want to get our message out, and we're so anxious to get that message out that we'll do it to the detriment of someone else. That is to say, Daniel, you comment, you make a statement to me. Am I already preparing for how I want to respond to that? Or am I listening and listening intentionally to what you have to say, asking curious questions about that so that I make sure that you are heard? Then you're going to be receptive to listening to what I have to say. There's an interesting study that was done that relates to that a few years back about cultures worldwide. And it found that here in the US, in most areas, the average amount of time between one person speaking and the other person responding to that is about 1 second. In some of the northeastern regions of the country where they talk quite quicker, here in the US, maybe there's half a second. Some European cultures, it's minus 1/2 second. People are talking over each other. But we go to Asian cultures, and there's a lesson to be learned there because that time gap can be 4, 5, 6 seconds or more, giving the individual time to process and to allow the other person to know that they are genuinely heard. So, if there's an overriding communication lesson that comes from this book, that's it. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Interesting, Mr. Kirk. Totally empowering. What is one piece of advice in the book that might seem counter interesting at first, but it's crucial for a well lived life?
I hear more and more from the clients that I visit with about impact. And what is impact? Fundamentally, we want to have good careers, we want to have good families, we want to achieve those kinds of things that relate to success. But on the hierarchy of needs, we all strive for that self actualization. Self actualization comes from helping one other person. I had a young man today who I had coached, and he went in for a job interview. I coached him on interviewing, and we went through a series of sessions. What that resulted for him, he got a job offer today. He's delighted with that. The compensation and the job duties are going to meet his needs. I share that excitement with him when he told me about it. And he's very thankful for the services that I provided to him. But hearing the excitement in how he communicated that to me, that's worth more than all the gold in the world to me. And I think of this story about the young man who's throwing starfish that have washed up on shore back into the sea. The old man strolls by. Young man, what are you doing? I'm saving the life of a starfish. Well, look, there are thousands that are here. What difference can you possibly be making? I made a difference for one. That's impactful, changing the life or allowing change to happen in the life of another. And that's one of the messages that will come out of this book.
Amazing, Mr. Kirk. Truly, truly interesting book. As the seed sower coach, as well as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
My goals, number one, have impact. I had a glimpse of that today. Number two, to be a friend, a relationship to those that I come into contact with. And I'm given a wide latitude of opportunities in which to do that through writing, through coaching, through my work as a statistician for ESPN. Earlier today, I taught a spin class, so the participants in that group exercise program having impact on them. Tomorrow evening, my wife and I going to supper with some good friends of ours, listening to them, loving them, maybe having some influence on them and they on me, being receptive to that. My overriding goal is to do this for as long as I can. I am past normal retirement age, but I'm motivated by some people that are referred to in this book. People like Paul McCartney, who at 83 years old is still performing. John Glenn, who went into space at the age of 77. Bob Mendelsohn, who is not as well known as those individuals, but he's the person that got me involved in teaching spin class. When I was in my late 40s, he was in his mid 70s at that time. Bob is still teaching spin. He challenged me, Kirk, we ought to go become certified. And when somebody throws down the gauntlet like that, I'm often up for the challenge. Bob still teaches spinning. He's in his 90s now. These are the kind of people that I strive to be when I grow up, so to speak.
Mm, definitely. And good luck to your goals, Mr. Kirk. And looking forward for more success. What would be a piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Marry well is one thing.
Hmm.
I met my wife in college at a fraternity party, and that was 47 years ago. Next month, we have been married now for 45 years. So I found joy and happiness with her and with the family that we have, our 2 kids and our 7 grandkids that go along with that. But I think words of advice, the big word that I've been using over and over again is a 4-letter word, but it's a nice 4-letter word. It's called move. Don't allow yourself to become stagnant, to become still. What's next? Consciously make an effort, and it can be physical, but certainly mental as well. How are you going to stretch your mind out? Maybe it's time to learn a new language, become exposed to a different culture, to take a trip, to travel, to pick up a new hobby, to pursue classwork that maybe you haven't pursued before, but to challenge yourself to go outside your box, outside your comfort zone, and do things that are going to stretch you and make you into an even better version than you believe is possible. So challenging yourself. would be my biggest words of advice. Move.
Move and just do it. Ah, thank you for that, Mr. Kirk, for this empowering advice. And what would be your recommended books or book that you want to recommend?
Well, my first book I'll recommend is Thoughts for My Kids and Other People's Kids.
Yes,
That's my book.
definitely.
That's out on Amazon in paperback and Kindle version. It's also at bookstores. It can be ordered there. But last month, I had the pleasure of facilitating a leadership retreat in Washington, D.C. And the book that I used as the premise for that was Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. A simple book. It's about not even an hour's worth of reading, maybe 50 minutes. But packed inside of that are so many valuable lessons that speak to us about the obstacles we face, some of them that we've placed before ourselves, and that stepping out of that comfort zone, like I talked about earlier, is so critical for being prepared for what one is seeking in the future. So, when you're in that maze of life, what may be out on the other side? In Who Moved My Cheese? Look on the other side of that cheese, go further. You may just have American and Swiss in front of you, but you're missing out on the brie and the Gouda and the smoked cheddar and all the good cheese there is out there. So,
Yeah.
man, go for that cheese.
Yes, I like provolone, so don't miss the provolone and blue cheese.
There
For
you go.
Thank you for the recommended books, Mr. Kirk. And if your children remember and embody only one single idea from its entire collection, what would you want it to be?
Make a difference in society, be a good citizen, and that may just be in your own home, being a good father or mother, or maybe a good brother or sister, or a good son or daughter to someone. And then beyond those parameters, who else can you have impact on? People are watching us. What are they going to observe from you? What can they pick up from you that's going to have impact in their own lives? We should live our lives such that on our day of judgment, when our lives have come to an end, our memorial service will be standing room only.
Definitely. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Kirk, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season. I'm a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season. And my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season. And movie 101 review and music 101 in fourth season. And science 101 and sex 101 in each per season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Kirk, what does success for this book look like to you? Is it a heartfelt conversation spark, a single life change, or something else entirely?
I like the adventure of something else entirely because
I
that's the
like it.
unknown. And
Yes.
that's not putting parameters on ourselves. But I do hope that people that pick up a copy or read it on Kindle will be moved in at least one, if not many ways, by a story that resonates with them, that connects with them, that could maybe lead them to applying something that they pick up to become the best version of who God created them to be.
the best version of. I love that, Mr. Kirk. Yes, Mr. Kirk McCarley, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or anything that you want to promote on Book 101 Review?
I've got a website. I've got a couple of websites, in fact. Kirk at theseedsowercoach.com is my email address. Theseedsowercoach.com is my website. KirkMcCarleyAuthor.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd love to hear from some of you listeners out there. And Daniel, thank you for the joy of being live with you today.
Yes, indeed. My pleasure, Mr. Kirk. People, let's support Mr. Kirk McCarley. Because if you support him for more and more empowering books like this to come, more and more empowering coaching to come. So, Mr. Kirk, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Daniel.
Multicom people, see you soon.
Shopify's point of sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments in person? We've got you covered. How about card readers you can rely on anywhere you sell?
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep, that too. Want one place to manage all your online and in-person sales? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.